Hello everybody, welcome to a very freshly recorded Saturday video. Hope you're having a lovely day thus far. And one thing I wanted to do is just go over some of the buffs and also the hood situation, because this was a video that I was meant to put out yesterday, but for whatever reason I just ran out of time. It just happens when there's lots of things to cover, lots of personal things I've got on as well. But in any case, let's just get right into it. I'm going to also compare off against some of the abilities in game and then kind of like switch back, especially to kind of get an idea of what's actually changing, because there's been a bit of confusion as well and it's not really clear. And I'll give you like a perfect example. Like on screen now is the Massacre spotlight that's on the forums, and it says things like, it starts with failed incinerate effects, baseball bat attacks while building ignition charges. But when you go to the game, it looks very different to the ability set, which does give a little bit of confusion. Yes, it does state the things that it does, like say failed incinerate effects over on the forum. Each time an incinerate effect fails to apply due to immunity, the target instead takes a burst of 1591. Well, that's what's referred to as the passive, which says on screen here. Each time an incinerate fails to apply due to an immunity, the target instead takes 17288 in damage. But I think this is based on a 5-star, or it's based on something. So it's all about being clear. And that's the other thing I think a lot of people I've seen say about this, is that they like to see where the denominations are changing with the damage and effects, and also the way that some of the abilities are presented differently to others. In a nutshell, what I like about the Massacre build-up and improvement is that it seems to be that, and as on screen on the forum, and a new spotlight and the changes of the buff, landing a critical hit, being blocked, or striking an opponent has an incinerate debuff grants 1 ignition charge for 20 seconds. Very, very important, because at the moment in game, this is stripped down to 10 seconds. So each time Massacre's bat either lands a critical hit, hits a block, or hits an incinerated opponent, it begins to ignite, gaining the ignition charge, which lasts 10 seconds. So, that's really good. That kind of helps. And it seems like the narrative of this buff for Massacre is on the ramp up. So while ignited, Massacre cannot gain ignition charges. Upon reaching 10 ignition charges, all charges are consumed and Massacre's bat becomes ignited for 20 seconds. So I think that's the process. And one of the things that I did do a Massacre what if video, and a champion did put out some good damage, but there was still a point where the champion could be doing more. And especially as you rank 3 that champion, you kind of be going it'd be kind of good to see a bit more from this. So if you're not familiar, you should follow the What If series, which is my series where I take meme tier champions or not very well utilized champions of 6-star, rank 3, 200 signature, and you get to see the extent of how they're damaging, which is, I think, a good series for those interested in future buffs. And also, one of the major wins that I absolutely love is the SP2. The SP2 is 400 block penetration if ignited, and 31,540 for attack rating if blocked. And this is very important, because at times when I'm hitting through in the SP2 when an enemy champion's in a block, it just doesn't feel like it's doing anything. Because currently with the 6-star version, which I'm going to throw on screen now, it's attack if blocked 22,216. So it's relatively pathetic in the point of hitting damage output out. So I'm really happy about this change, and that really kind of there's a few other things as well with this, but I think it's one of the 2 main things is the ramping up, and also playing into how this champion's narrative is that, if you're hitting into the block to gain more benefit, then of course it's got to do that, rather than it being just pathetic, which is on screen now from the abilities currently. Next up is Civil Warrior. Now, Civil Warrior's buffs I think I like the most because of the extent of the damage that this champion can do. Adding Fury into the mix really means that the damage output is there with a champion that had nothing, absolutely nothing. The abilities aren't overly complicated, which is great, and especially there's some sort of usability when it comes to having heal blocks still. Buff punishment, although it's immune to stagger and nullify, he is very susceptible to any effects that punish you from stacking a lot of buffs, like Morningstar. So yeah, to use your Morningstar against that, and as well any others that punish buffs. So that's a pretty incredible little thing that's been added in. Civil Warrior's combination, we've read that one. For each armor up buff active on Civil Warrior, reduce the opponent's bleed, poison, and ability actually by 25%. Again, great, absolutely great, fantastic. Armor up buff's good. Still saying every 5th basic that either champion throws is 100% chance to grant 1 armor up buff. So stacking those armor. Fantastic. But it's the dash back and convert all armor buffs to fury buffs, with each providing attack rating bonus. Man, stacks to 50. Man, that do be good. That do be good. So yes, I think a lot of people are going to be doing it. It's the same concept that you could say to Colossus to a degree, of build up of armor up to more damage potential that you can have. So that's something that's really cool, or kind of like more plays into the narrative of the synergy with Omega Red, I want to say. But yeah, I love that. I think that's great. Signature ability, blocking during special attacks, inflicts them with a passive weakness, reducing their attack rating. So yeah, I think there's amazing damage output with this. It's like just raw damage, beautiful. Nothing really more to be said about that except for it looks cool. Heal blocking, love it. And that's Angela. I think with Angela, again, it's not something of like overly anything to note about, except for there's more kind of potential for damage output. There's more increase of numbers, especially when it comes to like special attacks. So I'm just going to get her up on screen now. And it's very important to note that the changes in numbers. This is a rank 3. So the top end of numbers are going to be like more representative of what you've seen between the forum post, but definitely you can see the ramp up in attack rating. So if this is a rank 3 and has got a fury attack of 986, then as the forum has said, the new buff is going to come in line with a 2033. And again, what's this based on? I don't think it really said. Oh, it says 565. So yeah, that kind of like comes in as a little bit of a bonus to that. The other elements is just kind of like outputting more on the damage scale. Bit of a shame, as I've said, with not having buffed up anymore as like a node to kind of play on a monthly basis. But yeah, it is what it is. And now we save the worst for last, which I know the saying is normally we save the best for last, but the worst of last just based on the fact that this character change is not theoretically where and what you would like to see from Hood. At the end of the day, one of the biggest things about Marvel Contest of Champions, in indeed the current meta, is having options. The word options can mean many things, but options when it comes to this game is options to take on various content, or take on different nodes, or take on different champions, suppressing things, and in this case, suppressing buffs or node interactions. And one of the big things about the champion in general is that it can be used for this month's or ongoing mystic based interaction of nodes for the Cavalier difficulty. If you don't know, we did the Cavalier cheat sheet and that was really kind of well supported, and I'm working on the 2.0. Funnily enough, on the 2.0 I've indeed got Hood down for it, based on comment section from that video, because I took a lot of inspiration from that and a few other places as well. We indeed added Hood to that, because when you critical hit on champs, you have an 88% chance to do a staggered debuff. One of several things about this character that is really good, and again, points it down to options. If you don't have Sorcerer Supreme, if you don't have Symbiote Supreme, if you don't have Black Widow Clairvoyant, if you don't have Doctor Doom, if you don't have a lot of the champions on the list because of whatever reason, options are very important. And taking away an option like this for the interaction that you might have prepared for really sucks. But more importantly, the elements of the SP2, when you've got Fate Seal and the rotation and usage of this champion for taking on various different content. And the question really will be like, well, what is dramatically changing about this champion? Why does it feel like this is a nerf? Because that's the biggest message. And it's where it's been targeted. It's been targeted around that initial critical hit. It's gone down from 7.5 seconds to 5 seconds, which maybe some people might say that's not too bad. It does actually feel quite bad, especially if you're waiting for a champion to throw a special attack, especially with a monthly Cavalier. If an enemy is indeed you're needing them to throw that, you have to then try and quickly refresh that in order to do it, to get that stagger in as quickly as you can. But also that Fate Seal off the SP2 is going, so that's not good. There's also a lot more to this character, especially from a point of how players use the heavy attack in order to refresh those debuff effects of shock and of bleed and other elements as well. And look, for a lot of players, I'm sure they just utilize this champion as a synergy complement, especially to go with Ghost, especially because you can get take no damage while phasing, which is so important for this for the character of Ghost. But as well, having this as an option to go like, you've got this huge damage dealer in a team with Ghost, but also have the secondary champion that is a synergization, but can also deal with situations of buff nullifying and as well ability accuracy reduction and prevention and all those key things. It is sad to know that that is changing. But yeah, like, I don't know if people like care too much about this, but I think it's important for those, and there are a lot of people out there that really like Hood, but really like Hood as he is. Maybe it's the case they could ramp up things of debuff damage, or maybe increase the volume and time of things like stagger and other elements to make the character good, as opposed to trying to change it dramatically, which I think is fundamentally the problem here. And that again is the key thing. If you have no empathy towards people that like Hood the way he is, then just try and put yourself in their shoes and go like, okay, imagine a champion that you like, but something's being changed about it. I'm not talking about like the nerfs that we've seen in the past, but at least to say like you have a champion you really like, but slightly tweaking it to a way that you're like, oh, I use this champion for this, whether or not it's Cavalier difficulty on a monthly basis, whether or not it's a substantial secondary, a complement to synergies, and just a playstyle that you like. That is really the thing there. And that's what sucks about this Hood change. And I really hope Kabam decide to listen to the player base on this. Especially there's an active forum post that's on at the moment. I will put a link in the description. And if you want to apply a bit of pressure, I welcome it, because it does feel that this is something that does need to not be changed as the way it is. And respect to Cat Murdoch, as well as many other people talking about this. And I thought as well, what I do is I do a little bit of an explanation, cover why it's important to people, and just as well like help towards the cause with it. I don't use Hood that much myself, but I would say that it's important to kind of rally around people that are trying to like, you know, say, look, this character is good for players if it's the only option they have, or as well for what it is. It didn't need to be changed like this, doesn't need to be changed like this, and I really hope it's reverted back. And yeah, that's all I've got to say on the matter. And yeah, thank you very much for watching this video, and have a great Saturday, whatever you're doing. And yeah, loads of content posted tomorrow. Check out the content of today. 7.1, baby. That rewards opening was pretty darn nice for that champion pull. And I'll see you very soon. Funnily enough, Hood was one of them, but under this, I ain't choosing Hood. Disappointed in these changes, but thoughts in the comment section. Bye-bye for now.